This is Global Watch on your digital first Pan-African news network, TOS Television. I am Abigail Okwade. United States health authorities have called for a pause in the use of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 after reports of 6 severe cases of red blood clots detected in more than 6.8 million doses of the vaccine. The Food and Drug Administration said it was acting out of an abundance of caution. This the FDA disclosed in a series of tweets. The FDA and the Center for Disease Control and Prevention said they were recommending the pause as a way to ensure that the healthcare provider community is aware of the potential for the adverse events. A joint statement from the FDA and CDC clarified that the blood clotting was cerebral venous sinus thrombosis. It said that this type of blood clots needed a different treatment than usual. The common treatment may be dangerous, it said, and an alternative was required. All 6 cases were in women aged between 18 and 48 with symptoms 6 to 13 days after vaccination. Now to Asia, where Japan's government on Tuesday has approved a plan to release more than 1 million tons of contaminated water that is stored in huge tanks at the plant at an annual cost of 100 billion yen, which is $912.66 million from the destroyed Fukushima nuclear plant into the sea. The final approval comes after years of debate and is expected to take decades to complete. The first release of water will take place in another 2 years, giving plant operator Tokyo Electric Power time to begin filtering the water to remove harmful isotopes, build infrastructure, and acquire regulatory approval. Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga said the process will take decades to complete. Japan has argued that the water release is necessary to press ahead with a complex decommissioning of the plant. It says similarly filtered water is routinely released from nuclear plants around the world. The plan also has the backing of the International Atomic Energy Agency, which says the release is similar to the disposal of waste water at other plants around the world. But the local fishing industry has strongly opposed the move, as have China and South Korea. Still in Asia, Hong Kong leader Carrie Lam on Tuesday announced amendments to voting laws that include withdrawing constituency boundaries, creating more electoral districts, and criminalizing calls for voters to leave ballots blank. Critics say the laws favor pro-Beijing candidates. The amendments detail over 600 pages across 8 ordinances are meant to facilitate and complement Beijing's moves from last month to overhaul Hong Kong's electoral system by significantly curbing democratic representation in its institutions to ensure that only patriots can rule. Lam said the government will increase the number of electoral districts from which vetted candidates can be elected to 10, with 2 winners from each region. Previously, 35 seats were split between 5 electoral districts. She also announced the poll date for the Electoral Committee to select the chief executive and 40 of the 90 seats in the city's mini-parliament. The Legislative Council, known as LECO, is set for September 19. LECO elections are set for December 19, while the chief executive elections are set for March 27 of 2022. The proposals will be discussed on Wednesday in the LECO. Chinese Foreign Ministry on Tuesday sternly warned the United States not to play with fire, but to stop any official interactions with Taiwan after the United States issued new guidelines easing restrictions on meetings between U.S. officials and their counterparts from the island, which Beijing claims as its own. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Zhao Lijian, speaking to reporters on Tuesday, made this known. The aim of the new guidelines, according to the State Department spokesman Ned Price, was to encourage U.S. government engagement with Taiwan that reflects their deepening unofficial relationship. The new guidelines will do away with some of the convoluted rules that restricted dealings with the island, including in-person meetings. Spokesperson Zhao Lijian said the so-called guidelines seriously violate the One China principle, the 3 China-U.S. joint communiques, and the solemn commitments U.S. made to the Chinese side on the Taiwan question. He also urged the U.S. not to send any wrong signals to Taiwan independence elements so as to avoid severe damage to China-U.S. relations and peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait. China believes the U.S. is colluding with Taiwan to challenge Beijing and support those who want the island to declare formal independence. And you are watching Global Watch. UK exports to EU records partial rebound after January slump. This and more after the break. Just stay tuned. Welcome back. On health-related matters, the World Health Organization released a statement on Tuesday saying the sale of live wild animals at food markets should be suspended as an emergency measure. This came after a WHO team visited Wuhan in China to carry out an investigation on the origins of COVID-19. It was reported that some of the earliest cases of coronavirus were linked to a traditional food market in Wuhan. In the report released on Tuesday, the WHO said the animals, particularly wild animals, are the source of more than 70% of emerging infectious diseases in humans. They added many of these are caused by novel viruses that have not been recorded before. Wild animals in particular pose a risk for the emergence of a new disease. They come into markets without any way to check if they carry dangerous viruses, the report stated. Rudolf Anschober, Austria's health minister, announced his resignation from office on Tuesday, saying he could not continue with the grueling job of helping lead the country's coronavirus response due to personal health issues caused by being overworked. The 60-year-old had been in office since January of 2020. He has been one of the major faces of Austria's COVID-19 response, which has received mixed reviews. Wolfgang, a Vienna-based doctor, was named as Anschober's successor. Anschober experienced a burnout 9 years ago and said he had suffered 2 episodes of sudden fatigue in the past month, as well as high blood pressure and tinnitus. Austria was one of the first countries in Western Europe to make wearing of masks mandatory last year, and this helped the country ease its first lockdown quickly. Austria has struggled since the autumn to balance allowing and restricting activities. The country has an infection rate significantly higher than that of Germany, its neighboring country. On Monday, Minnesota police chief officer said the police officer who fatally shot Donte Wright mistakenly confused her gun for a taser. Late Monday, the officer who shot Donte Wright after a traffic stop in a Minneapolis suburb was identified as a veteran of 26 years. The announcement came as protesters faced the police. Hundreds had gathered outside the Brooklyn Center police station for the second consecutive night, flouting the 7 p.m. curfew. The shooting took place in an area already the center of a national reckoning over police officers' use of force against blacks.
I watched the video and listened to the officer's commands. It is my belief that the officer had the intention to deploy their taser, but instead shot Mr. Wright with a single bullet. This appears to me, from what I viewed and the officer's reaction and distress immediately after, that this was an accidental discharge that resulted in the tragic death of Mr. Wright.
As the investigation into Wright's death in Brooklyn Center began on Monday, prosecutors in a courtroom less than 10 miles away completed the questioning of their witnesses in the trial of Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer charged with murdering George Floyd last year. Now in business, following Brexit, trade between the United Kingdom and the European Union partially recovered in February after a steep drop in January, according to official figures from UK's Office for National Statistics. The figures show exports to the EU jumped by 46.6%, that is £3.7 billion, to £11.6 billion, following January's 42%. The export increases were driven by machinery, transport equipment, and chemicals. However, the Office for National Statistics said exports were still below last year's levels, and imports from the EU had seen a weaker recovery. Other figures from the ONS show the UK economy grew by 0.4% in February. Last month's trade figures were the first since new trading rules came into force as a result of Brexit trade rule changes. The ONS said it was too early to make any conclusions about the impact of the new trading arrangements with Europe. And that is it on our Global Watch for today. For more updates, do visit our website at www.tostvnetwork.com. To follow and like our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And remember to subscribe on YouTube. I am Abigail Okwade. Remain safe, and thanks for watching.